Let's talk about the events of my third Superman movie, Superman: Children of Krypton, in my DC cinematic universe. The movie starts off with Superman and Superboy visiting the Star Labs observatory because Star Labs has managed to find the location of Krypton. And with Krypton as far away as it is, over 35 light years away, the scientists have deduced that if they look through the telescope on this exact day, this should be the day Krypton explodes. And so Connor and Clark feel as though they have to go and watch it. Connor and Clark watch in real time as the planet of Krypton explodes before their very eyes on the super magnified display at Star Labs. They watch as the planet burns away, the rubble being cleared out, and suddenly they notice something. A rocket heading directly to Earth. Star Labs, Superman, and Superboy all freak out, realizing that there is a rocket heading directly to Earth from Krypton, and they are looking at video that is 30 years old. Superman rushes into orbit and uses his supervision to find this rocket, which is now less than a day away from contacting Earth. Superman catches the rocket, he brings it back down to Earth, and he notices that on this rocket is the symbol for the House of El. We then flash back to the day Krypton is destroyed, and we get the death of Krypton from the perspective of Kara Zor-El. Her father and her mother rush her into a stasis pod without her knowledge, and they activate it, putting her in cryostasis. They then put the cryostasis pod into one of the probes that they were going to send to Earth, running on a light speed engine, and they set it off before Krypton explodes. This movie then follows Kara as she's trying to adjust to life on Earth. She wakes up in the Fortress of Solitude, freaking out because it looks like Krypton, but it shouldn't be Krypton. Suddenly, this man, dressed in her family clothes, claiming to be her baby cousin, is standing in front of her. She's freaking out. So we're going to be focusing a lot on the trauma that Kara has throughout this movie. But another thing we're going to be focusing on is the guilt that Clark feels from having to kill Doomsday. That is the one and only thing he has killed in my DC cinematic universe thus far. And the Jor-El AI points something out to Clark. The ship that Kara arrived on ran on a phantom drive. It's a type of light speed engine that pushes back against the phantom zone as the ship goes. It's a very fuel efficient form of transportation in space, but that's not what's important here. Using the phantom drive, Superman and the Fortress of Solitude itself have all of the technology they need to reverse engineer and make a portal projector to the phantom zone. A prison dimension discovered by Kryptonians that, if accessed, means Superman would never have to kill another being again if he found himself in a similar situation with a being like Doomsday. He could open the portal and throw the being in, and it would live there forever. So as Superman and the Jor-El AI get to work on that projector, Kara overhears this. And Kara knows that there are other Kryptonians in the Phantom Zone. Specifically, General Drew Zod and his two most loyal followers. When Superman himself finds out there are 3 more Kryptonians in the Phantom Zone, his first reaction is to let them out. They've been trapped in there for 30 years, and while the Jor-El AI agrees that they served their sentence, they cannot let Zod out on Earth. That man with those powers would be a monster. And Kara overhears this. But to her, this doesn't sound like a reasonable man not wanting to create a super-powered evil version of himself. This sounds like someone wanting to stop the return of Krypton. And she already doesn't trust this guy. So while Superman and Superboy are off one day, Kara uses the Phantom Zone projector and lets Zod, Ursa, and Non out. She takes them and she flies away, and they hide in a distant country. As Superman and Superboy now realize that there are now 4 Kryptonians on the loose, and they only have 3 days until those Kryptonians reach full power, Kara Zor-El kidnaps the newborn baby Jonathan Kent from Lois Lane because Kara, in her grief-stricken mind, is convinced that the baby Jonathan is actually her baby cousin Kal-El. And so now Zod and his 2 followers and Kara have Superman's son. We then get very similar scenes to when Superman was training Supergirl how to speak English and how to control her powers over the first 72 hours of her developing powers. We then get her trying to replicate the process with Zod and his two followers, but to catastrophic results because it is very quickly realized these motherfuckers are monsters. Eventually, the 72-hour period is up and it's too late. Superman and Superboy couldn't find them. So Zod, Ursa, and Non are fully powered, and they confront Superman and Superboy at the Fortress of Solitude. That is when we get our big, awesome final fight, and it is full-on anime mode. I already made a 10-minute video fully describing what the fight looks like. Go check that out. The fight happens. Barry Allen, the Flash, is there, basically just cleaning up collateral damage, making sure that the shockwaves of these two dudes duking it out full strength doesn't wreak havoc with the rest of the world. The baby Jonathan Kent is returned to Lois Lane. Zod, Ursa, and Non are thrown into the Phantom Zone, and Supergirl deeply apologizes to the man she now believes to be her cousin. Superman and Superboy embrace Kara, and they promise that they will help her through this. And then Kara Zor-El is taken to the Justice League-appointed psychiatrist, Black Canary. And Kara begins therapy to deal with the unimaginable loss that she has lived through. And that is the end of Superman, Children of Krypton in my DC Cinematic Universe.